There's a voice that often becomes louder after you leave a high control religion. It doesn't shout, it doesn't sound dramatic, it sounds reasonable. It comments on small things, it questions your tone, it replays conversations after they've ended, it tells you that you could have handled something better. And because it sounds so reasonable, you may have come to believe it's just your personality, that this is simply who you are. But what if that voice isn't your personality at all? What if it's something you learned and never realized you learned it? After leaving a high control religion, many people notice something unsettling. Even when the external authority is gone, an internal authority remains. It comments on your thoughts, it questions your motives, it scans for moral error, it tells you that you should be further along, it warns you not to become selfish, it tightens when you feel relief, and it spikes when you assert yourself. And because it speaks in your own voice, it feels personal. But here is something important. Just because a thought sounds like you does not mean it began with you. High control systems do not rely on constant external policing alone. Over time, they train members to monitor themselves, to evaluate thoughts before they are spoken, to check motives before acting, to feel guilty before breaking rules, to anticipate judgment before it arrives. When this happens for years, something shifts. The external authority becomes internal. You don't need someone standing over you anymore. You begin standing over yourself. And when that pattern runs long enough, it stops feeling like monitoring. It feels like identity. Many people expect the inner critic to soften once they leave, but often it intensifies because uncertainty increases. And when certainty drops, internal monitoring rises. Without a fixed framework organizing your decisions, your mind begins scanning more aggressively. Is this right? Am I becoming someone bad? What if I'm wrong again? That heightened scanning can feel like maturity or responsibility, but often it is anxiety trying to protect you. If the system once taught you that mistakes can carry serious consequences, your mind tries to prevent them in advance. The critic believes it is keeping you safe. This distinction matters. A healthy conscience is specific. It responds to behaviour. It allows repair. The inner critic, by contrast, is global. It attacks identity. It rarely allows resolution. A conscience might say, that action wasn't aligned with your values. The critic says, you are disappointing. You haven't changed enough. You are still wrong. One invites reflection, the other demands punishment. And punishment feels productive, but it rarely leads to growth. If you lived in an environment where approval was conditional, where worth was closely tied to obedience, your nervous system learned something simple. Safety comes from staying in line. So your mind developed a strategy. Correct yourself before someone else can. Judge yourself before someone else does. Lower yourself before you are lowered. At that time, that strategy made sense. It reduced risk. It preserved belonging. But outside of that environment, it can become relentless. It's tempting to try to crush the inner critic, to shut it down, to argue with it, to overpower it, but that often makes it stronger because the critic formed as a protection. It learned, if I monitor constantly, we avoid danger. So when you try to remove it abruptly, your system can react as though safety is being threatened. The work here is not force, it is separation. Instead of asking, how do I get rid of this voice? A steadier question is, where did this voice learn to speak like this? That question creates space. You begin to see the critic in a specific environment, not something that defines you. It is a pattern, and patterns can change. Softening the inner critic does not mean becoming careless. It does not mean lowering your standards. And it does not mean ignoring responsibility. It means replacing surveillance with awareness. It means noticing a mistake without turning it into a character flaw. It means asserting yourself without expecting punishment. It means making a decision without interrogating it for hours afterward. That shift happens gradually. Not through force, not through self-attack, but through repeated evidence that you are safe without constant internal supervision. If your mind has been harsh lately, it does not mean you are a harsh person. It likely means you were trained to equate self-criticism with safety. And your system is still adjusting. There is nothing morally superior about being hard on yourself. There is nothing spiritually mature about self-punishment. And there is nothing irresponsible about learning to speak to yourself with steadiness instead of fear. If you recognize this voice, you are not alone. It is common, it is learned, and it can soften. Nothing about noticing it means you are regressing. In fact, noticing it is often the first sign that you are stepping back from it. You don't need to defeat it. You don't need to win against it. For now, it is enough to understand you didn't choose this voice. It developed around you, and slowly, at your own pace, you can begin relating to it differently.